Welcome everybody to another episode of Biryani Football. My name is Raj, and we have some exciting things for you today and going over next week's games as well. It was a pretty crazy week of football, and I'm really excited to get into it.
Yeah, welcome everyone once again. I will kick it off by reviewing week 8 of football, NFL football. Absolutely true. I mean, there are some amazing games. Once again, it almost feels like we repeat this every week, but that's the nature of the game. Some really good games, some upsets, if you will. So, Viraj, what games do you have in store to kind of go review them? What games did you pick?
Yeah, so first we have the Packers-Steelers game, which was a very disappointing game from the Steelers. They had a very strong first half, especially from Aaron Rodgers, but they ultimately came up short in the second half. And that was due in large part to the pretty good defense by the Packers in terms of rushing the passer, especially towards the end of the game where they were not able to get even a play in when they were trying to just get those touchdowns and move as fast as they could. They just couldn't because the pass was just coming too fast at them, and there's nothing they could do. And so it was really strong performance by the Packers defense in the second half. The Packers run game as well, they also played pretty well. They did not have a great first half, especially from Josh Jacobs, who had a down game this week and did not play to the expectation that he was set this week, especially considering that Steelers didn't have that good of a run game. So Josh Jacobs was expected to run all over them, but it was actually Emmanuel Wilson who was the one who ran all over them with 61 yards on only 11 carries, which might not sound like that much, but you have to put into context where those runs came on really important downs for the Packers and ultimately helped them secure the game. And speaking of running, the Steelers did not run the ball enough in the second half when they were leading 16-7. And their one job is to be able to kind of wear down the defense, kind of leave no time for the Packers to be able to handle the ball. And they just weren't able to do that. And they were having a very efficient run game in the first half. And then second half, it just disappeared. And I don't think it was because of the running backs. I just think that they weren't running the ball enough. Jordan Love, though, played phenomenal, having 20 straight incompletions to end the game, going 29 for 37 in the game, which is very impressive from him. And he had a 134.2 passer rating, which is very impressive. And he had two important throws, one to Tucker Kraft and to Romeo Doubs, both on very important third downs that helped them ultimately secure the win. And speaking of Tucker Kraft, he had a phenomenal game. I think he's becoming one of the better tight ends in the league, having 134 yards and scoring a touchdown. And so I think the Steelers obviously are known for not being able to handle tight ends that well, and they were put on to full display in front of all of America that weekend. It really highlights the flaws within their defenses. And in terms of standings, that was their chance to, kind of get back up to the top 3 standing in the AFC and potentially boost their morale going into this, because they have one of the hardest schedules. And for the rest of the season, they're going up against the Colts, the Ravens, the Bills, the Chargers, and the Lions. So they have one of the hardest schedules remaining in the league. And losing a game like this, which kind of begins that cycle of like tough games, is really demoralizing for them. And it was, in my opinion, it was a lot of bad coaching, and Mike Tomlin should have been able to seal this game away, but he kind of just helped feed into the stereotypes that the Steelers aren't able to finish games, and they put that onto full display here. And the Steelers blitz, they were not able to do anything. They got shut down. Jordan Love, even when they were right about to catch Jordan Love, they were just that much slow, and they were not able to have a meaningful impact on the game, and ultimately cost them the game. The Steelers had 4 punts, most of which came in the second half. And so thoroughly it feeds into the notion that they cannot win games. They can start off games, but they can't win them. And so it's really disappointing from the Steelers. It was a game that they could have won. They had it right in their hands, and they just dropped the ball and handed it right to the Packers. Which isn't to say the Packers didn't show up strong performance, but it doesn't also say that the Packers won on their own.
Yeah, I mean, I'll add just a few more points. I think Viraj, you covered it pretty well. I did not see that lopsided because Steelers usually don't have back-to-back bad games very often. I'm not saying ever, but they usually don't. Especially like, from the shellacking that they had with the Joe Flacco and the Bengals on prime time. I was expecting there'll be some bounce back, and the first half was like that. I mean, the first half was pretty tight. They did not give room to run, and they made them one-dimensional, which always doesn't pan out very well. And I thought that I think the big difference for me in the first half was field goals versus touchdowns. I mean, when you're playing with an elite, Packers are elite from what I saw last night. They are going to toe to toe probably with the Lions in their division. When you're playing with elite team like that, you have to finish the drives. You can't settle for field goals. Yeah, I mean 1 or 2 are okay, but you can't just like bank on them. You can't. You just can't. And I think that was the difference. And I was watching a video from press conference from Tuesday where Mike Tomlin was like talking up Kraft. I mean, if you see that, it'll be like so funny. It was almost like he was speaking into existence on what's to come. He was talking him up. He's like, that guy is a force to reckon with. He is an amazing guy for his size, speed, the agility, and the blocking, and the whole thing in like one ideal Titan. And lo and behold, that's what he did.
Maybe Mike Tomlin should stop like complimenting other players so much.
Yeah, he was a prototypical. And I just felt like, there were like so many negative plays that Steelers were doing last night. Where they were actually like unnecessary penalties. I mean, like the Metcalf penalty was like so dumb. There was an ideal play, like a genius play actually, where Aaron Rodgers like threw the ball down just before getting sacked. That was amazing. I mean, that's who he is. But maybe it's like age is catching up. Maybe their players are not complimenting around him. But yeah, I mean, it's a loss. Steelers lost the game. The sad part is, it looks like the NFL loves Steelers, putting them on the national television. They were on Thursday night, Sunday night, and guess what? They'll be back on Sunday night on the Chargers. So we said the same thing last week, saying the same thing again. Hope they get their act together and put up a better performance when they play against the Chargers.
Yeah, and on behalf of like the wide receivers, Roman Wilson had a career day, having his career high with 74 yards, and that was pretty impressive from him. And that one, he had a one catch for 45 yards, and that was very impressive from him. But other than that, DK Metcalf, he dropped the ball in the end zone, and he's been having problems with things like that all year, and it's really ruining his image. So
Yeah.
I think that he really needs to get his act together if he wants to ever be considered as an elite wide receiver. And yeah.
I also want to quickly add, the officiating was horrendous.
Oh yeah.
It was so bad. I mean, they saw a blatant offside they couldn't get it. It was an obvious touchdown catch. They had to go to the review to confirm it. I mean, it was just so bad. There's no ways about it. I mean, usually like officiating should not like, be the topic of any game. The players should be the talking point of any game, but like, the officiating was very, very bad.
Yeah, and there's so many plays where you can actually blame it on the refs. But there is this one play where the what's it called? The Packers had a fumble, and then the Steelers recovered it, and then they said it's too late. So it's a lot of bad calling by the refs, and I'm very disappointed in that.
What's the next game?
And so next, I want to talk about the Jets versus Bengals.
I called it.
It was
Called it last week, saying that Jets defense might show up.
Yeah, and it was a very surprising game where the Jets, they had a surprising comeback win. They were losing 31-16 coming into the fourth quarter, and they ended up winning the game 39-38. So, it was a very impressive showing by the Jets. Their defense really stepped up in the fourth quarter, holding them only to 7 points and stopping them on the last drive, forcing Joe Flacco to throw 2 straight incompletions to end off the game. And so I'm very proud of them. Joe Flacco played well and was actually able to spread the ball out to various receivers, but ultimately he just fell short. In the end of the game, and I don't know how much was influenced by that sack, by Will McDonald IV, which ultimately might cost him a few weeks as he's now injured. And Justin Fields, though, on the other side of the ball, he was playing very great football, not turning the ball over. He was just scrambling around, running for 33 yards on the ground and throwing for 230 more and had a touchdown. And speaking of throwing and running, Brees Hall actually had a career day, carrying the team on his back and running for almost 200 yards in a game, with also throwing a touchdown of his own, which is very impressive. It was a very athletic play by him in the end of the game where he had the pump fake and then threw it to head top the cornerback. And so it was a very great play design by Glenn. Very gutsy move by him, but ultimately it paid off in the end. So I think it was a great call by him. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and that was exactly what was going to kill the Bengals defense and ultimately win them the game. And, it's very surprising for the Jets because they didn't have their two star players, Garrett Wilson and Sauce
Oh,
Gardner.
really? I didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
and so it was a very stunning win for them. And, it was very emotional for Justin Fields finally getting his first win. Everyone's been hating on him this whole season. And, I still don't know if he is worthy of the starting position, but I do know that that was a great performance by him. And he definitely deserves to celebrate himself and his performance that he had in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I was not surprised. I actually, coming back from church, and I asked Raj, like, what's the score? And when he said, like, it was like, what, 31-6 or 13-6, something like something big difference where Jets were like, I mean, Bengals were like running away with the game. I was like, wow, that's surprising because I was expecting a tighter game just because Jets know Flacco because he played for them and they know
Yeah.
what his weaknesses are. And number two is their defense is really good. I mean, that's the best unit in their team. And I was really hoping that would be an upset, and they did not disappoint me at all. On a sad note, Nick Mangold, who was their O-line guy for a superstar, almost a legend, or not almost, he's a legend in New Jersey for Jets. Jets legend. He passed away very sadly last week. Thoughts and prayers for them. I was like looking at his post last week where he pleaded for a kidney transplant. He was looking for a kidney transplant. He should put out a message. I did not expect that this one actually die. And so, thoughts and prayers are for his family. But yeah, Bengals lost. Jets won. I'm sure like Jets had that in the back of their head to win for Nick. But it was a great win. First win for Aaron Glenn. Yeah, nothing else to add. I knew like Flacco is going to like come down to the US sooner or later, but did not expect like so fast. I wish he was on the ground last week, but whatever. All right, I'm going to cover two games myself. The first one is the Chargers and the Vikings, 37. It was a crazy, crazy game. I mean, the story for me was Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, I mean, he was not good. Maybe he's injured. I mean, he's wincing with the pain. Obviously, I could not watch the entire game just because it was so boring, so lopsided, so one game. And there was like nothing to watch. It was not an entertaining game. But, to see him like fall so bad, so fast, I felt really sad for him. As a human being, I mean, obviously as a player, you still have to you still evaluate against your talent on what you put on the field. But yeah, that was very disappointing. A few things that I just came up here is Justin Herbert was surgical. I mean, 18 out of 225, 227 yards, 3 touchdowns, 122.8 passer rating. Unbelievable. And he's the tallest quarterback. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but he's the tallest quarterback of 2025
Yeah,
teams.
he's a big guy.
He's a big guy, 6'7". And so he ran for 62 yards and passed Peyton Manning for most completions in a QB's first 6 seasons. And the other thing is they did not punt all game. And it's the first since 2021. The rookie impact, there are a bunch of rookies that are just coming up. Gadsden, Harris, Trey Harris, and Kimani Vidal. I mean, that guy is becoming a superstar right in front of our eyes from running back. I mean, running backs are short-lived, but hopefully he'll make most of his thing. The defense also came to play. 5 sacks on Carson Wentz. Obviously, Vikings O-line is really atrocious, but still 5 sacks on Carson Wentz. Turnovers and pressure. RJ Mickens had an interception. And the defense only held the Vikings were 34 rushing yards and 12 first downs. I mean, you can't win games like that. Carson Wentz, like we said, he sacked 5 times, and he apparently was in a lot of pain. He was in, I think he has a shoulder injury, and he was not comfortable at all. O-line was really bad, and like I said, it was not an entertaining game. It was 20 to almost 21 to 39 minutes, game time of possession for those teams. And Connell, he's a great coach. I mean, he obviously was a coach of the year last year, right? But I don't think it was not that great, not a greatest game that he ever coached. The only turning point was a near pick six on Herbert's first throw was overturned, and the Chargers scored on the next play. So that's 14 point swing easy, right? And the middle and dominance, Chargers scored 10 unanswered points in the middle of the game. And finally, Luke Lad McConkey, my goodness, 27-yard dime from Herbert. That was a great game. He was really fast. He hit 20.7 miles per hour speed on the route. So that was an entertaining game. So I mean, is this the most complete game of the Jim Harbaugh era? I mean, pretty much all cylinders are like running at the full speed, and if Vidal is emerging as a really good running back, it's going to be pretty tough for Chargers to lose close games. So what do you think, Viraj?
Yeah, I think the Chargers are becoming a force to be reckoned with in the league. They had a great start and then kind of fell off, but now they're back up again and in full motion. So I'm really excited for this team. And with all the rookie and young talent that they've got on the roster, it's their Lombardi Trophy to win. So,
Yeah.
and for the Vikings, this is very sad watching Carson Wentz crying on the field. It's hard to take that many sacks and just having an offensive line that's consistently letting you down, not letting you be able to
They
throw the
had
ball.
no
So
time. No time.
you can't really blame that much on him without putting almost all the blame onto the offensive
Yeah,
line. So
I agree.
it's very sad to watch, and now he's out for the season. So
He is?
yeah, he's
So
out.
who's starting for them?
I don't know actually.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, he's gone for the season. The Vikings season.
I would be surprised if he gets signed as a backup even.
Their season might be over, but who knows? They have a lot of talent on their offensive side of the ball, but they just need to find someone to be able to actually, kind of.
And it's a tough division too. Lions,
Yeah.
Packers are like, phew. All right. The other game I want to quickly cover is the Colts and Titans. My goodness. I mean, Jonathan Taylor's MVP surge. Maybe he might be the MVP or like at least the offensive player of the year. It's crazy. 12 carries, 153 yards, and 2 touchdowns, including an 880-yard sprint where he hit 21 miles per hour. 21 miles per hour? That is ridiculous. Even some bikes don't hit probably. Averaging almost 7 yards per carry on the season. And, his burst and vision are elite. Obviously, India has a great O-line, but the lanes that they're opening and how Taylor is punishing not just the immediate lane, but the second level lanes, that is really, really good. And Daniel Jones, what a story. He might be the comeback player of the year for this year. I mean, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 112.4 passing grade, playing clean and confident football. His chemistry with Michael Pittman Jr. and Adonai Mitchell is growing, especially the circus catch. I don't know if you saw that, Raj, was a highlight. Pittman's really good. I think, Jones is really playing well, and Shane Steichen. I mean, I believe he's a really good quarterbacks coach from his days at Eagles. I mean, I think he's really playing to his Daniel Jones' strength, and he's really thriving in the system. I don't know, or maybe just a hot streak. I guess we'll find out. The other thing that I really want to highlight is the Colts defense. They're pretty elite. I might even add them on my fantasy for next year if they're available. I'm not sure if they're available, but they're really good. They only held Titans to 14 points and forced 2 turnovers. Franklin, the linebacker Franklin, and Juju Brents, the cornerback, were everywhere. And their speed and tackling, they just shut down Tennessee's shot game. And Titans, they have an identity crisis. Now, what are they? I mean, obviously, Cam Ward threw for 259 yards and a touchdown, but the offense still looked disjointed. Okay, Miraj, so do you want to add anything?
I wasn't really following the game, but I was looking at the scores and stuff, and yeah, I agree. The Colts have been playing a very solid game, you know. And the Titans, their defense really needs to step up. You know, Cam Ward is slowly not in the place where he should be, but he's getting there, and he's been able to be a good game manager, I guess, in some ways, like recently. But their defense definitely just said, oh, they don't have any manpower on their defense, and honestly, I don't know where they're heading and what the direction is, but they
Yeah.
have a lot to improve.
All right, so moving on to week 9, halfway point of NFL season, believe it or not. So what games? Do you have any games that you want to highlight, Raj? Or
Yeah, 2 games actually. The Steelers-Colts game, that is going to be
is it in the Indy or is it in Pittsburgh?
it's in Indy.
In Indy,
So
okay.
it's going to be a very important game for the Colts. Oh, no, it's in Pittsburgh. I'm pretty sure it's in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a very important game for the Steelers, not as much the Colts. The Colts can afford to lose a game or two, but the Steelers, you know, the Bengals are right behind them, and so if the Steelers lose this one, the Bengals win this one, it's just one more game added to them, and you know their playoff chances are slowly going down and down. And the Ravens, they're gonna have Lamar Jackson back soon, so how's that going to be?
Yeah.
And they're sitting at 2-5, I think, right now. So they are not. They're obviously doing bad right now, but how much can you expect them to like be this bad when Lamar Jackson comes back? So. And they're gonna have to play Lamar Jackson soon. So if they lose this game, imagine how demoralizing it's gonna be for them from going from 4-1 to 4-4 or
Yeah.
4-3. No, 4. Going from 4-2. Going from 4-3.
4-2, 4-3, and then 4-4.
Yeah, going from 4-3 to 4-4. And so
You're getting to 500 basically.
yeah.
Then you go to losing. So.
They are falling from grace rapidly, and this is a very important game, and their defense really needs to step up because Jonathan Taylor is running all over the place. I mean, he had an 80-yard touchdown in that game against the Titans, so he is running all over the place, all over every team he comes across, and if the Steelers don't change anything, he's just going to run all over them too, so they really need to improve the run game, be able to control it, forced kind of pressure Daniel Jones in the pocket where he struggles the most under pressure, and force their hand on the Steelers, for Colts. But in all honesty, I don't expect them to win this game, and I can't even say how close. If I think it's going to be close,
I don't think it's going to be close. If Steelers come, they have to really surprise Colts and then just run away with the game.
They need to
or
be
they have to like really bottle up Jonathan Taylor
and Daniel Jones.
And make Daniel Jones one-dimensional. And if you think about the old Daniel Jones,
Yeah.
he can make mistakes if he's one-dimensional. And that's the one.
You get to him and it's going to start showing cracks, but it's up to the Steelers to actually be able to get to them, especially against the Colts. Very, very, very good offensive line. So it's going to be
We'll see.
It's going to be an interesting
It's
game.
going to be a good game, I think. It's going to be a sneakily good game.
But the Steelers are going to have to pull off, be very unconventional. And
They have to be unconventional. I do agree.
Another game I want to talk about is the Chiefs and Bills. Both teams are on fire right now. Bills, they had a pretty good showing against the Panthers, which weren't that bad of a team. They really put them in their place and winning in a blowout, 40-3, which is insane. And so James Cook is going to be a force to be reckoned with. He's going to be the X factor, I feel, in this Chiefs and Bills game, and it's going to might be potential for game of the year if the Bills show up. Because I think the Chiefs.
Is it a primetime game or is it a?
Yeah, it is a primetime game.
When? I don't think it's a prime game because Sunday night is. Is it Sunday night? No, I think Sunday night was. Anyways, we'll fact check that.
Anyways, but yeah, the Chiefs and Bills is going to be a very interesting game to watch. Well, because Patrick Mahomes, he might own the Bills in the playoffs, but the Bills have his number in regular season, so it's going to be a very interesting game. And
have like Rashid Rice now, and
so everyone's back. It's going to be a full firepower game.
Yeah.
And it's going to be who's going to be able to, tough it out the longest.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to add. I mean, it's going to be a great game. I was thinking, when you think about week 9, if NFL wants to showcase a week, they should skip week 9 because there are not many good games.
Yeah.
I was looking at the schedule and like, oh my gosh, these are all clunkers. And Bills and Chiefs was, obviously it's a blockbuster game, superstars playing against each other. Other than that, there's not much. And I had to really dig deep to pick this out. which is the Seahawks and Commanders. I think that might be a good game. Dan Quinn, was a part of Seahawks coaching back in the day when they won the Super Bowl. So they have some affiliation there. And Commanders, hopefully, is Jaden Daniels back, or is he like out for a couple of weeks? So if he's back for this next game, he can make it interesting. I think that's going to be a really good game. How Sam Darnold plays against a really good Commanders defense, helmed by the Dan Quinn led defense. So I think that's going to be really good. So that's the only game I could pick. Everything else looked like clunkers. I mean, if you're new to NFL, I would skip next week unless you watch like Chiefs Bills or Seahawks and
And
Commanders.
Jaden Daniels had a good showing against the Cowboys, and they really held the number one offense to only 22 points. So I think the Commanders are coming hot into this game, and the
Yeah.
Seahawks are okay. They just need to step up their game a little bit, be a little bit more aggressive in guiding the ball, and I think the Seahawks should be able to come out on top of this game if they just play their cards right.
All right. I think that's all we had. So for today, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Please share, like, subscribe, and comment anything that you want us to add or highlight, any teams or any plays or anything like that. Do let us know. But thanks and enjoy the games.
Yep.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.